This is Ben Balmaceda, voice of Raido from Aharen-san wa Hakarenai, and you're watching Spoiler Force.
All right, so this is episode 146 of Spoiler Force Podcast. My name is Ricky, and thank you for tuning in. This week's guest is someone that I am excited to speak with. He was also another guest that was recommended by former guest Molly Zhang as well. He has a ton of credits in many, many animes, from Aharen-san to More Than a Married Couple, The Spy Family, to The World Ends With You, the animation. Let me just bring my guest on here. Ben Balmaceda, thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Thank you for having me, Ricky.
Yeah, so like I said in the intro, Molly Zhang recommended you, and I looked through the list, and man, I looked through your credits, your resume, dude. The amount of work you put in just for voice acting alone is insane.
Yeah. So the thing about my credits, I've done actual big characters in a handful of shows now. I feel like I've got a decent amount of names under my belt. But I really got my start with anime doing a ton of walla and bits, just like background voices and chatter. The thing that's special about me, and I guess some other guys that I share my house with, is during the pandemic, when it first kicked off, there wasn't any way for people to record together because of health safety stuff and all that stuff. But one of my roommates, the great Alex Mai, I'm going to name drop him because I love him.
I just spoke with him too. He was on the podcast.
Oh, awesome. There you go. Yes. Well, crossover episode, everybody. Yeah, he's my roommate. He has a really big booth that can accommodate 4 people. So me, him, and the rest of our house, we're like, hey, we can do walla from our house if you guys need walla, because everybody's recording remotely. So we're just like, do you want us to do walla remotely? And because of that, we ended up doing basically all of the walla and bits of every show that happened in all of 2020. We were everywhere. So that led to just a lot of directors getting to work with us, a lot of opportunities getting thrown our way, and just a lot of chances for us to show our stuff to people. And that's how I got my first named role in My Hero Academia. That was the first actual character that I got that wasn't just Villager 10A or whatever. That was Teruo Hazukashi, the flasher dude that there's one episode where they're introducing all the new hero rankings, and Hawks is there for the first time.
Oh,
and there's
so
this flasher dude
with Endeavor stopping the villain, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And I'm just some dude that's like I'm gonna take down this company because of meta-human liberation, and the narrator comes in, it's Teruo Hazukashi, his quirk is shame. The more embarrassed he is, the stronger he gets, and Hawks kills him in 2 seconds, and we never hear him again. But that was the first time I got to be a character, so I was so excited for it. And yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Man, this is I guess the third or fourth time I heard about walla, and Molly was the one that told me about it, because I knew that that
she's
background...
also great.
Yes, she is. She's very amazing, and congrats to her too. She just announced on Twitter she's co-directing or assistant directing as well.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. But back to walla is she told me about that. I always knew that there was background chatter or background noise in the shows, but I didn't know that you guys actually just recorded together and spoke to each other.
Oh,
so
yeah.
how was that for you, Ben? You guys just talked about anything, or was there specific things that you guys had to talk about or say?
Well, it would always have to fit the scene. If we were villagers in a medieval fantasy town, we couldn't be talking about going to the mall and going to karaoke and stuff like that. So we had to keep it relatively within the world. But I know that I would play off Alex a lot. It would just be me and him playing off each other and just having conversations or stuff like that. It's a lot of it is just straight up improv, that you're just you just have to think of a situation and just go and make everything up on the fly. And there's I know Alex almost always opens up with a yawn or a stretch, and I'd just be yeah, it's been a tough day, huh? And he's be yeah, I gotta get back home to the wife, and I'm just like, yeah, I gotta get back home and make myself do it. Like it just be like the most inane stuff ever. But you know, I try to work in dumb little references to things I like whenever I can. Like if there's ever like an angry mob, voila, like people are just yelling angry stuff, I always yell, "You suck," no matter what. Like no matter the context, you'll always hear me yelling, "You suck!" at like just in the middle of like just a din of angry noises. And that's how I get my jollies doing voila.
Man, it just sounds so fun because like when I spoke with Alex, we talked about like him doing improv and comedy. So I think that's a great way to kind of like still use Wallet to kind of like brush up on your skills on that. Just like, oh yeah, I did this today. Yeah, me too. Like a lot of the setting in Wallet, like, or at least from what I see, is always like the slices of life stuff, like a lot of the school stuff or the young adult stuff. So like it's a lot of chit chatter in the background and stuff like that. So I think that's really cool that you and Alex and your roommates here were able to record at home doing all this stuff. And then sending it out.
I mean, like we spent like almost a year and a half like doing Walla together, so like I got super used to working with these guys because like we just knew all of our habits and everything, and it's super fun to like get all the improv stuff out. But then we have stuff like we've done a ton of One Piece Walla, and One Piece has a lot of dudes that yell a lot. So there would be moments where it's like, hey guys, so this session we're going to be doing a lot of battle cries, and you've got like a 40-second charge that you have to do. So give me 2 takes of that, and we just had to yell for 80 seconds total, and it was the worst. But like it's part of the fun. Sometimes it can be. Sometimes you're in the mood to scream for 80 seconds straight, but sometimes you're not. So. It depends on the day, but I love it a lot. It's fun to do. It's a lot of fun.
I kind of wanted to take this back a little bit, Ben. You said you started with Walla doing a lot of the recordings at home, but what made you decide to get into voice acting? I have your bio kind of pulled up right here on my other monitor here. I didn't know you were from you're England born. So
yes,
you were from
so. My backstory is kind of weird. My dad's a diplomat, so I had to travel a lot when I was growing up. I was born in England. My nationality is Chilean. Both my parents are Chilean. I speak fluent Spanish. But what made me want to go into voice acting, I've always been a theater kid growing up. Like it's blurry, but over there I've got like a picture that my mom made of me at like 3 years old on stage as like the Ice King or whatever like play this was. I don't know. But like I've always been like a theater kid. Like I've always grown up acting. I love doing stage performances. In college, I did at least 2 shows every semester because I just couldn't get enough. But during high school, I was like, I want to act, but I don't want to I don't need to, because I'm moving around so much. It's hard to find like a stage to perform on. So I'm like, what if I just did online stuff? Like maybe there's a way for me to act with my voice. So I just hit up some old timey voice acting forums that had casting calls and stuff and tried it out. And I was like, dang, this is pretty fun. But I didn't really take it seriously until I moved to the US, which was about 8 or 9 years ago. And I took a workshop with Brittany Lauda and Matt Shipman. And that's when I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, this is it was just like an anime auditioning workshop, but it was so much fun. And I was like, I want to do this more. I want to do this professionally. So, I made it my mission to become a voice actor then and there, and went through college, got my degree in some information systems thing. I don't even use it anymore. And I was just like, I want to audition for as much stuff as I can and just become a professional at this. And then after I graduated, I moved down to Texas. I got my start with Crunchyroll, and the rest is history, basically.
Man, that is it's a very simple way how you got in. Because speaking with other voice actors, I hear the stories how they went to school and everything, and then they just fell into this and all that. And then the way how you did it, it's always seems like you were already into just acting in general, and then just switching over to this. So I think that's really cool that you brought that up too, because a lot of the voice actors I do speak with, again, they always talk about just doing acting in general. They don't specify to just voice acting, but it's always do musicals or do commercials or do something to get your reps in. So like I said, with your resume, you've done a lot of commercials, a lot of video games, anime. was there something specific that you wanted to work in, or you just wanted to just do voice acting in general?
I just wanted to act. Like, it's basically how it goes. Like, I'm the type of person that, like, as long as I get to do something cool, like I don't care what shape it takes. Like, if it's a cool commercial or a cool animation or a cool game, as long as I think it's cool, like I can do it forever. So there are like dream projects that I want to be a part of like someday. But like they're not stuff I like actively work towards. I just think like if I just keep working on everything and anything that I find, I'll eventually get to where I need to be, is like how I see it. Like I think that there's a logical progression and flow to stuff, and I think just I'll get there eventually, is how I see it.
Yeah, I mean, like just being able to get any work in is what counts as an actor, man. Like, I spoke with Alex about this. Like, it's kind of like the hardships of just acting, where sometimes you do get plateaued or there's stumps where you don't get roles, and it gets very discouraging. So I mean, even for you, I'm pretty sure you've had moments like that where you plateaued and didn't know how you're going to get your next gig.
Yeah, I mean, I did experience that a few times, but like the thing about this industry is that sometimes it's like a lot of disappointment that happens, and a lot of like, oh, like I couldn't book this dream gig and stuff. But on the flip side, you'll get moments where just completely out of left field, you get something amazing that comes down your way. And you're just like, I didn't think this, like I had forgotten that I auditioned for this, and now I booked it. And now it's like the greatest thing I've ever done. And like that thing for me is Saber in the upcoming Fate anime that's going to be coming in June, I think. And like, that's something I booked a year ago. Like, I haven't been able to work on it yet because it got delayed. But like, that was one of those things where it's like, oh my God, this is huge. Like, Fate is like a huge series, and like I get to be basically one of the main characters of it. So like, that's something I just didn't expect. And like, that happened on the same year that I booked some other stuff that I can't really talk about right now.
Right, NDAs, we gotta respect that.
Oh yeah, I don't want to get in trouble. But like, I'll be talking about them in time. Don't worry.
Yes.
But like JoJo is one of them. Like I booked JoJo basically the same day that they announced me as Saber in Fate. Like when that trailer came out, that's when I booked JoJo as well. So I'm just like these things just happen, and like I'm always happy that they do. And yeah, JoJo was like, that was a dream series that I wanted to be a part of. And like that specific character, Rikiel, was like if I had to be any character in this current part of JoJo, I want it to be Rikiel, and I got it, and I was so happy. And like I'm just really happy how that one turned out.
Yeah, JoJo is. I will admit, I haven't watched all of JoJo yet, but
you should. You should. It's so good.
I know, like the fan base is what makes me so intrigued with the anime, because it's so they have. I honestly, the JoJo fan base is probably the most unique fan base I've seen.
Oh yeah,
especially like when just how the charisma of these characters are, and like just the memes on the internet, and then seeing the cosplay, like they stand out a lot to me when I go to cons and seeing all like that is a JoJo fan.
It's I mean they're so, it's just such a passionate fan base. Like there's so much, because the show is just insane. So it's like it's just there's so much to talk about and laugh about and like meme on, but there's so many just amazingly like hype moments and like melancholy moments and like moments that make you cry and moments that make you go like, shit, yeah, let's go, this is awesome. And like it's just a show that has so much, and like as the characters are so charismatic, as you said, and like their designs are so elaborate and their poses are so dynamic, and like it's great. I love it. I have this really crappy little Rikiel toy that I got like literally a week after I booked him, this was like a manga version or something from like 2008 or whatever. But I was like, I want to get merch of this boy. So I tracked it down. But I love that show, and I love the fan base of it. And it's great. You should watch it. You should really watch it.
Yeah, I'll definitely try to make more time to watch. I'm honestly like really behind in a lot of the animes that I should be watching, because like doing this podcast stuff, like I wasn't expecting to get as many voice actors like on the show this year doing interviews. Because like late 2022, I was like, you know what, because like, you know, like voice acting, I was shooting my shot at you know, getting these interviews, just like how actors shoot their shot for the roles. I was doing that, and I was getting some, you know, disappointment at one point. So I was like, you know what, man, maybe I should just calm down. You know, the podcast isn't just voice actors, so there's always like artists, like Comic-Con artists I can talk to, or writers I can talk to. So when I was focusing on that, and then like come the beginning of this year, like the beginning of the month, really, I just get like email after email. Hey, I want to be on the show. Hey, you know, thanks for reaching out. Like, and then you responded, you know, so I was like, holy crap, man. Like even I can't say it now, but like even the upcoming episodes that I have booked already, like I have maybe like 3 or 4 more other voice actors coming back on the show too. So it's just ironic for me to be like, to see that. Like, I was like, you know, I'm going to chill out on requesting voice actors, and then here comes an influx of them coming in on the podcast, and you're one of them. So, you know, it's amazing. But yeah, I also wanted to talk about like some of your other roles that you're in, like in Aharen-san, you played the lead role for as Raido, you know. How was that audition process like, and you know, what was your thoughts on getting that role?
Oh, I love. Okay, just so the thing about that show, I read the manga when I was like way back in like years ago. Like I started reading the manga, and I love it. And I've got friends that I just like would constantly talk about the manga about. And as soon as I found out that it was getting an anime, I'm like, oh my god, please let it get a dub, and please let me audition for it, because like I really want to be a part of it, because I love the manga. And then I got the audition sites for it, and I was like, let's go, awesome, it's getting a dub, I'm getting a shot at it, let's go. And it was just like, for Raido, I just was like, I know this character, I know what he's like in the manga, he never changes facial expressions at all, so I'm just like, yeah, I mean, I guess I should just talk like this, and you know, maybe have something different there. And like they had like one of the lines was like, let me do this sweet samba to raise your spirits, boom boom chicka chicka boom, and like I just did it like that, like as flat as I could. And Emily Fajardo, the director, she's amazing, she's the best. She was like, yeah, you basically hit the nail on the head, like that was exactly what I had in mind. So that's how I got it. And doing that show was so much fun. Like the Maddie Morris, the writer for the show, she was just on fire, made the script super funny, and it was just, we had so much fun just sitting down. So much of it was just easy for me too, because a lot of the dialogue is just in Raido's head. So yeah. Like I don't have to match any flaps or anything like that. I can just go and be dumb, and like it all just works. But there's so many lines in that show that I would like, we would do a line, and then I would like stop to like let the engineer stop, and then I would make a joke about the line, and then Emily would be like, wait, that would fit the flaps, can you do that as the line? And that's why like there are some lines that are just completely off, like we improvised, like when like Raido's getting chased or stalked by Ahaden's friend, her name is completely escaping my head right now, but her tall friend that's like, yes, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Like there's one moment where he goes like, that was weird, and like I just said, what could it mean? Because like I just think that's funny, and Emily used that as like the take that we kept, and it was great. I love that show so much. And you know, Danny Chambers, she made me laugh several times as I was like about to do my take, because like there was one scene where she's saying something, and at the very end she goes, yay, like super fast. And I heard that just before I was like about to say my line, and I just cracked up and was like, I'm sorry, that yay caught me completely off guard, can we just come back in? And like there were so many moments like that. I loved it. It was so much fun. It was a great show. Everybody should watch it.
You both did an amazing job, because I watched it both in sub and dub, and like just how you and Danny Chambers got those characters. Honestly, it didn't feel like any different from what the sub did. And I love, like, you know,
for that.
no, you guys did great. I loved it. One of my favorite moments was like, definitely the episode where Raido and Aharen kept going back and forth with their rap battle. So like
the rap. Oh my god. Oh, so that's a great episode. You've got great taste, but when I first I was watching the sub as we were recording the dub because I just was watching the show as a fan. So when I saw that episode, I was like, holy shit, they actually animated the rap the rap part of the manga, because I knew about it from the manga, and I'm like, there's no way they're gonna do that because like they're gonna have to make everybody rap. And I was like looking forward to that episode, but I was also dreading it so much because I don't rap. Like I'm just some Chilean dude. The rap isn't in my blood. So we did our best with it, and we just had fun. And like I had to kind of like let go of a lot of things that I knew about anime dubbing. Like instead of dubbing to the flaps, I had to just dub to the beat because I was like trying to rap to the beat. But also try to keep it as like Raido. Like I couldn't get too excited. I had to be like, yo, what's happening? It's me, Raido. And like it was a real challenge, but I'm really happy with how it turned out, and a lot of people seem to really, really like that episode. So I'm glad that you mentioned it, because I would have slipped my mind.
Oh man, like that episode, like really, like a lot of the whole series really just like, it was really wholesome and fun. But that episode was one that I was like very curious after watching the sub. I was like, man, how are they gonna nail this one? Because again, with rap, it's different from just voice acting. You have to stay on beat. You have to keep the rhymes going. Yeah. So like it was, I give credit to the writer, man, for being able to keep that and stay on beat with the soundtrack that they had in the anime. But you and Danny Chambers did it really well again. But it was a great show, man. I enjoyed it a lot just watching it both in sub and dub.
It was great. It was wonderful.
Yeah. But you also voiced like The World Ends With You, the animation. You got the lead for that. I played the game like a long time ago when it was on DS. But I only played it like once or twice. I never thought that game was gonna get an anime adaptation. And
same.
And like I actually do have to go back and rewatch it, but I know that like with the animation, they stayed pretty close. They were pretty true to the game as well.
Oh yeah.
So what was your thoughts on that getting that role for that show?
So that was my first lead role, and like I still am a huge fan of The World Ends With You. Like that was. I played the original on the DS when I was a kid, and like it literally is the reason why I kind of ended up the way that I am now. It's the reason why my music tastes are what they are. It's the reason why I like J-rock and J-rap as much as I do, and like why I love graffiti aesthetic so much. And like finding out that it was getting a dub, my first thought was like, are they going to get the original cast back? Because like I love the original cast so much, and like I was like, if they're not getting the original cast, then I don't care. Like who I don't want to watch the show. But then they were like, we couldn't get the original cast back. Do you want to audition for it? And I was like, yes, I would be down. If they couldn't get the original cast, me getting to be a part of it is like the next best thing. So I auditioned for Neku, I auditioned for Beat, and I auditioned for I think Joshua as well. And the director, Kyle Phillips, he's a wonderful human. He was like, hey, could you send me another take of Neku and just make him just pitch him up just a teeny bit? And I was like, okay, I'll do that. So I did it. I sent it off. About 2 weeks later, I got scheduled for 8 hours on the show. And like, they don't tell us like, oh, you got the role. Like they just say, hey, come into the studio for 8 hours. We're not going to tell you why, but you're going to record 8 hours on the show. And I was like, there's nobody that talks as much as Neku that could fill 8 hours of recording. And I found out, and I was over the moon. It was the best feeling of my life, because like that game is so important to me, and like I love it so much. And I was like playing the sequel as this happened. I was playing Neo the World Ends With You, and I was like, man, like I would love to be a part of the series in some way. And like that happened. And Neku was just like, I loved working on that show, and like everybody did a great job. And like I know a lot of people wanted the original cast back, and I've heard so many people be like, yeah, like new Neku is okay and all that stuff. It's like I'm with you. Like I wanted the original cast back too, but like I did my best, and it all came from a place of love, because I'm also one of the fans. I wanted it to turn out good too. and I think it did. I would say that it did. And yeah, like as you said, like the animation was really good. It was a really faithful adaptation, even though like they had to, fast forward a bit through the game because they only had a few episodes to work with. But that show was awesome. I'm like, I have so much like Neku merch just lying all over my room and nothing on my desk. But like that show is just the best, and I'm always going to be thankful that it happened.
I think it's great when actors finally get to be a part of that. Like it kind of just you're forever in that. You're in the credits. You're in the show. Like nothing's being taken away from this. So I think it's great that seeing you as a fan being able to voice the main lead for The World Ends With You. That's great, man. Like I honestly don't think that it's a big deal when they do recast people, as long as you're, like you said, as long as you stay faithful and true to your character, man. Like that's what matters the most. And obviously I can tell you really enjoyed that role.
It was so good. And also I have to give a special mention to Jessica Sluys, the writer for the show, because she was also a fan of The World Ends With You, and she filled the script with like references and nods to the original game. And like every time I got a chance to yell a line that was straight from the game, like it was the best. So like it wasn't just me putting in the passion, it was the whole production team behind it. Like they carried that show more than I did.
I guess to piggyback off that, man, are there any roles or I guess projects that you want to work on now that you haven't gotten to work on yet?
It's funny because like over the past few years, like I have been just like checking stuff off my grand list of things that I want to be a part of, and it's been like an amazing feeling, and I can't wait to talk about it. But like I have to admit, I do feel a bit weird always like saying like I really want to be this, because like I know the people that cast these things, and it's like it's always like a weird like pressure when you say like, oh, I really want to be this character in this thing, and then like the person's like, oh, I might have to break Ben's heart if I don't book him as this character. So it's like it's kind of weird, but I think it would be very, very cool if I got to be in the Tales of game, like the Tales of RPGs. I love those games so much, and like the parties and like the characters in them have such amazing like growth and characterization, and they're all super charming and fun. And it's like I just want to be in an RPG that lets me be like a fun party member, is basically how I would sum it up. Like any of those games that let you have a party of people, of wacky characters, I want to be one of them. That's pretty much it. But like as far as like shows and anime go, I would love to be a part of like a Marvel thing at some point in the future, maybe like anything Marvel related. That'd be pretty rad, and or like DC too. Like I'd like to be a superhero if that's okay with everybody. But yeah, basically those are like the two top things I would say in my bucket list right now. Just getting into be a fun party member in an RPG, and DC Marvel superhero. Yeah.
Yeah, I know with like DC they do a lot of the animated movies and stuff like that. So
yeah.
I know that they do take voice actors for that. But what are your thoughts on like when they do like use live actors or more more so like live actors or actors that have been on TV to do voice acting instead of just voice actors?
I think that I'm very much a believer. I know like this isn't how the industry works, but I'd like to believe that this is how it works. I like to believe that whoever got cast for a part got picked because they're the best fit for the character. Like that's it. Like it doesn't matter what their background is, if they're a TV actor or a voice actor. If they fit the character, they fit the character. Like that's it. I will say that like there might be some preferences towards Hollywood actors and movie actors and these kinds of things, but if they do a good job, like it doesn't like it is what it is. Like I'm okay with that. Which is why like I like it's probably going to be tougher for me to get into maybe one of those kinds of projects as just a voice actor, but I feel like others have done it. Like like Zeno Robinson is like a good option. Like I would consider him a voice actor first and foremost, and he's in Young Justice, and like he's an amazing actor. And like, if I'm not gonna say if he can do it, then so can I. But like he's proof that like it's not just Hollywood actors that get picked for this kind of stuff. And like, yeah, I just think like the best actor is gonna take it. So that's why I'm always trying to improve myself and be the best voice actor at least.
But that's the thing I like about like the whole anime community too, though, because there's just so many shows and so much projects going on that you can just pretty much, you know, dive into this community and voice characters that you want to. I'm not saying like the Western shows are harder to get, but like because, you know, if you look at shows like Invincible, right? You know, they have a stacked cast just for that.
Oh yeah,
for that series.
I love that show, by the way. It's amazing. It's so
yeah,
good.
It's man, they're everything's been like, you know, with this whole superhero genre. Like Invincible was another fresh take on just like how gruesome it could be instead of just
so
like the happy superhero stuff.
Yeah.
But from what I was saying, like, you know, because shows like that, and then like you got, you know, they I think they even did like The Boys, like an animated like mini series of it.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they use like the actual actors for the show too. So like, you know, it is tough when it comes to a lot of these Western shows because there's already a built foundation on the live acting. So when they do transition it to like a animated series, like okay, so we can kind of just shift them over to this project, you know. But I think working for like DC or Marvel is good too, because I know some of those shows are still going on. You know, was there any specific hero or villain that you would like to do?
Oh, don't make me pick one. Jeez. Oh man. I mean, I wouldn't say no to Star-Lord, but I know there's cooler people that can play Star-Lord. Like I want Jonah Scott to be Star-Lord, not me. But I would just love to be anybody, honestly. I want to give the Flash a try. I want to give I want to try being a Green Lantern. Like anything they give me, I'll do it. Is basically how I see it. I don't think I have like the guttural growl to be Batman or something, but like just whatever I can get, I will be happy to accept it. Yeah, but maybe those names that I threw before it would be a good place to start. I guess I'd like to be like Spider-Man at some point.
I you know, just based off your voice, I can see, you know, like a Hal Jordan or Green Lantern.
Hal Jordan, yeah. I think so too, but it's up to the casting people.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully, if they ever watch this, like, hopefully they take that into consideration, because, you know, again, like because there's a big difference of the with the American cartoons or American animation and Japanese animation, because like it's you don't have to, again, with American animation, you don't really have to worry about mouth flaps because they kind of just adjust to you. So it's really cool to see that. But like anime's been a big topic on the podcast. So like it's I won't say like I know a lot of about American animation, but like I do have like other podcasting friends who do speak with like animators and writers for American cartoons, and just hearing some of these voice actors who, like, you know, like classic voice actors, like he spoke with my buddy Julian. He spoke with like the Ed and Eddie Boys, the voice actors.
Oh snap! Really?
Yeah. And so like
that's
to
cool.
hear them like talk about their experience in voice acting, and then like, you know, and some of them have done like anime, but like it was really like a lot of the retro stuff, you know, like the early 90s anime, but compared to what it is now, it's really cool to see how, like, even though it's just like voice acting for animation, like it's two separate communities. It's two different takes on how the entertainment works for all the actors, and how, you know, how the viewing is for the audience. I think it's really cool to see that, you know, if you do it, like, but for you, Ben, like if you were able to cross over for both, you know, do both American animation and go back into Japanese animation, you get to see like how much you're playing with and how much you get to grow as well as an actor.
Oh yeah, that's like I haven't gotten lucky enough to really do any Western animation yet. I have like auditioned for a bunch of stuff, but like that's definitely another world that I really want to explore, just to because it just, as you said, like it's like it's a different side of the equation, and it like tests just different parts of your brain with anime dubbing, you're constantly having to pay attention to your timing with the flaps and like making sure everything flows correctly, and like it's very constrictive in that regard. But with like pre animation, Western stuff, like you have way more flexibility to just do whatever, and like they just have to follow your lead in terms of the animation. So that would be a lovely challenge to be a part of. Maybe sometime in the future, I don't know, but I'll keep working towards it.
If you want to start your own podcast like Spoiler Force, then sign up with Buzzsprout. Buzzsprout has helped hundreds of thousands of users like me to begin their podcasting journey. With easy-to-use tools, you can effectively get your podcast into different platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and more. You can view your stats, create audio clips, and even have your own podcasting website. Buzzsprout offers ideas, tips, tricks, and tutorials to help you improve your podcast. Follow the link below, and once you sign up, you'll get a $20 Amazon gift card. This will let Buzzsprout know that I sent you and will also support Spoiler Force Podcast. If you want a simpler way to record both video and audio for your podcast, then sign up with StreamYard. StreamYard is the perfect program to create podcasts, host live streams, and even do video calls. There are many tools that can help you create and design your own personal studio. You can screen share, read live comments, and stream to different destinations like Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. You can also download your video and audio once you're done with your recording session. Follow the link below, and once you sign up with the basic or pro plan, you'll earn a $10 credit to use for StreamYard. Happy podcasting. Since you moved to Texas, man, like have you gone to any of the conventions? I know Texas has a bunch of cons, you know, from like the big fan expos to like small community ones. Have you been to a few already?
I have. I've gone to A-Kon, I think, and Anime Dallas, I think, is another one. Those are like, I think and A-Fest, I think, was another one, if I'm remembering it correctly. Those are great cons. Every con I've been to, I've really enjoyed. I love going to cons. I have a very soft spot for, I know it's not in Texas, but ASUN, up in Chicago. I love that con so much. I've gone to it like 4 years now, with a bunch of my friends. Someday I'd love to guest for it. But speaking of guesting, I am going to be guesting at a con coming soon to Texas. I can't say which one it is just yet because they haven't announced me yet, but it's going to happen very soon. So keep your eyes peeled on the social media, I guess. You'll get a retweet when it comes out.
You know, but how does that feel for you, man? Like when you go to cons as a fan, like as an attendee versus a guest, you know, how has that, I guess, that transition been for you?
Well, I haven't done the guesting yet, but as a fan, like it's been weird, like going to panels and like talking to voice actors and stuff, and like then getting to the point where they are like in my career. A really good example of this is before I moved to Texas, when I lived in New York for 4 years, and I went to Liberty City Anime Con. And I met Aaron Roberts there. And he was hosting a panel called Your New Favorite Actor, Aaron Roberts. And I was like, there's no way this guy's going to be my new favorite actor. I've got very discerning tastes on actors. So I went to it. It was a super nice panel. He's a great guy. And then like literally... like I would say a month ago, I did my first like solo session with Aaron, like as my director. He was directing me in Married Couple, and he was like, "Have we met before?" And I was like, "I went to one of your panels at a con like 5 years ago." He's like, "I don't remember that at all. I'm sorry." And I'm just like, "It's okay. I'll remember it for you. Hi, I'm Ben." And like, so like it's kind of funny in that way, going to cons where like you meet people and then like years later you start to work with them in a professional capacity. It's really funny. Like I think Aaron's not the only example of that, but like there have been other moments like that, and it's I can't wait to kind of do the same for other like newbie actors that will be meeting me at this upcoming con, and hopefully I can be that moment for them where I'll say, "Hey, it's me, your favorite actor, Ben Balmaceda, in the flesh, and then they meet me in person 3 years later, and I'm like, I don't know who you are. No, I'll remember everybody. But yeah, it's fun. Like cons are great. If anybody's listening to this and you have a con that you want me to appear at, ask them to invite me, because that's how voice actors get invites to cons. People need to ask for them. So yeah,
I do want to piggyback on that too. Like you know, when I spoke with Lexi Nieto, like she was, you know, very much like you, just a fan at a convention, and then going to be, when you get to work with these voice actors and you see them in person, and you know, going to the Crunchyroll studios, like, oh my gosh, you know, have you had the similar moments where you, I guess, geeked out as well, seeing certain actors or working with certain actors?
Man, like the first time I worked with Caitlin Glass, probably. She's directed a bunch of stuff at Funny Crunchyroll. And we did Walla for her, and I was like, this is the voice of Cammy that's like directing me to like do some school ground chatter. I was like, but like those moments happen a lot for a lot of people when they're first starting out. I'm somebody that like tries to keep a level of professionalism at all times when I'm on the clock, so I try not to like let it show as much. But there are moments where I've just been like, okay, I'll do this. You're so cool. But yeah, like over time, like you get to know these people, and then it's just, they're all just people like you or me, and they're also nerds in their own way, because they're working anime, huh? But yeah, it's always like, it's one of those moments, like you always have those moments where it's like, damn, I'm like doing this and I'm like acting like with this super famous actor as like my director. Like that's so cool. So moments like that are always super special. And like there are still a lot of actors that I've met at cons that I really want to work with at some point. Like I think Robbie Daymond was definitely, he's one of my favorites, and I would love to be able to just be a part of something with him. Although I guess One Piece technically counts because he's in One Piece now, and I'm in One Piece, so whatever. But yeah, it's great. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've had like similar moments, like, you know, doing this the podcast virtually like this. It's still pretty surreal speaking with, like, again, with actors and with artists, but then it's when I go to cons and I meet them in person. You know, like,
Oh yeah.
When I met Ann Yatko for the first time in person.
Oh, she's lovely.
Yeah, she is. Like, she's an amazing person. Like when I first spoke with her, it was just when or at least when I did my episode with her, it was just when Jujutsu Kaisen ended, like the first season ended. So I got to speak with her right after that. And then what's funny is when I met her at a con, it's already been like over a year by that time. So like, you know, she got revealed to be like as the voice of Raiden Shogun in Genshin Impact. And so,
yeah.
So I went to Akon, and I was like, and I'm so mad because, you know, I spoke with you on the podcast, and then like maybe not even a month after you got announced to be as Raiden Shogun, I was just so mad. I was like, what the hell? Like I was so envious, because like, man, that could have been such a great topic to talk about on the show. But like, because I remember asking her, I was like, you know, do you think you'll voice a role in Genshin? Because like that's when Genshin was. I mean, the game is still peaking, but like that's when, like, all the new stuff, all these new characters are getting revealed at that time. And so she's like, yeah, I don't know, but we'll see. And like, I go back and watch that episode, I'm like, man, she knew, like, she already got that. She just couldn't say
it. That's great. That's wonderful. Yeah, that's the crappy thing about like this job sometimes. It's that we'll be sitting on really cool things that we really want to talk to people about, but we just can't until like they let us talk about it. So I've got like 4 things waiting in the wings right now that I just, I'm tearing my hair out just wanting to like talk to people about it, because it's like, this is so cool. But it is what it is.
I think it's absolutely hilarious though, like seeing it like on Twitter when all the actors are like, finally I can say something, you know, they just start like retweeting. It's like, I'm in this role, this is who I am. You can tell they've been holding in to announce these roles, you know. So and it's just cool to see like the community, the voice acting community too, like just how you guys all just support each other, and you know, when someone gets a good role, like everyone's like on it, like, you know, they congratulate you, but they also share your roles and stuff like
Mm.
that. And I think I think it's cool that you're able to live with like another voice actor as well. Like, are all your roommates voice actors, or just you and Alex?
Yes. But well, yeah, I would say yes. We basically all are working on our own things. We all still do Walla together when they call us. But like we share our victories, we share our defeats. There are moments where we all get to read for the same thing. And we're just like, well, may the best man win. And like, yeah, like that sense of community that voice actors have on Twitter when we're like congratulating each other and sharing, you know, stuff like that's one of the things that I love about it. And it's always great to see. And like there have been people that have like told me like, oh, whenever I see that kind of stuff, I just get jealous. Like when I see announcements and stuff, I get jealous. And it's like, it's okay to feel jealous about that stuff because like it's just human nature. Like people are doing cool things. But like letting that jealousy push you to become better is like the best way to feel that jealousy, if that makes any sense.
Right.
And like just jumping onto the bandwagon and saying, yo, congrats for this thing, man. Like you're great. You did it. Awesome. Like that stuff is also very important. It trains you to just build that sense of camaraderie with other people.
Yeah, and it's also good to like just to stay positive as well when you do that. You know, like yeah, you know, even for me, like podcasting, when I see like a lot of my podcasting friends, or when they get like certain guests, or they're able to, you know, I hate to say it, but like even when like with numbers, right? Like as content creators, we don't ever want to. For me, the big rule is like don't look at your numbers, you know, because that's what kind of tears you down. So like you know, I've had some podcasting friends who started way after I did, and I've seen them skyrocket. And I've seen some people who started before me, and they kind of just plateaued. You know, so like we all have our moments, but like you said, man, like it's good to I don't want to say it's good to be jealous, but it's good to use that feeling to stay motivated, or to like push yourself to be better. But like don't be jealous to where like you're bitter. You know, I think that's where I think that's where like a lot of not just actors, but like creatives, man, like that's where we kind of have to find like a fine line of not being like upset at each other, or being like, you know, hateful or spiteful, because that's what makes the divide between like all these communities. I think it's, like you said, it's great to just congratulate someone, just be happy for them, because you know they earned it, you know, and there's nothing you can do about it. I think that's great that you brought that up, because I think a lot of that gets kind of overlooked too, especially on, you know, on the internet and social media. Like it's always the big happy things, and it's never a big topic on the show, on my show as well, has been like trying to showcase the work that gets put into your craft, because again, on social media we only see like all the big stuff, like the guests we get, the highlights, the roles we get. You know, so I love when actors talk about like their come up, or all the work they have to put in for a certain role. And I think that's great that you brought up that topic.
Like that's the thing that a lot of people lose sight of. You know, it's just like in social media, you only really see people's W's, but you don't see the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of L's that led to that W. And it's like, I know there are people that have booked roles after like months and months and months of not booking anything, and like that's when you're just like, fuck yes, dude, like you earned this one, let's go. And like it's like people are always fighting. Like it's always a struggle. So whenever victories happen, whenever the fight is won, like just got to celebrate it. And if like you didn't win, you just got to fight harder next time. And like there's a quote that from One Piece that I absolutely love, that I always use now, that the former pirate king Gold Roger once said, everyone has their turn, and you'll get yours eventually. And like my character Pedro, who I love so much and is one of my favorite characters ever, like that's one of the last things that he says, and before something happens to him that I won't talk about because it's spoilers. And like that's something that I think a lot of people should like take to heart if they want to get into voice acting, is that eventually you're going to get your time in the sun. Like you're going to have to keep working towards it, but eventually you're going to break through, and like you're going to be able to do something special, and like it's going to make you great. Or I mean, it's going to give you good soul vibes. I don't know how to. I'm not an English major. I don't know how to put these things more elegantly. But yeah, it's all about keeping those vibes strong despite the adversity.
I think that's a great message, man. Like I honestly like how positive you are about that, because again, like, when you see like, I can only imagine when you see like your colleagues or like other actors, get the roles that you wanted, and then just kind of feel defeated. Like it really does suck, man. Like no one talks about it. Like it sucks. It's like it's great that that you stay positive about that, man. Like I think it's good, not just for your mental health, but it's good for everyone else's too, because like people don't want to be around like someone who's bummed out about everything all the time. It's not good. It ruins it for everyone else. Like, not saying like it ruins everyone's mood, but like it's such a buzzkill, because like you don't want to just stay on that the whole time when you can use that time and energy on something else that could be better for yourself. But
exactly.
I do want to get. We do have a fan question here. I put up a post on Twitter and on Instagram. Sadly, we only got one, but it's okay.
Hey, if it's just the one, that's okay with me. Hopefully, I've answered some questions that people didn't even realize that they had the question to. So,
well, I think you did a great job bringing up a lot of topics on the show, man. I really enjoyed it. But this comes from my buddy Julian from What's in My Head podcast. He's the guy that spoke with all three Ed boys. He asks you, what voice actor or voice actress has inspired you throughout your entire career, and if you could play any character in anime or animation, who would it be and why?
I kind of like that. That second part is kind of what we already talked about already. Yeah. But actors or actresses that inspired me. I'm a very stubborn person. I'm very much focused on my own journey. Like I don't look to others for. I mean, I do get inspired by people, but like I always want to do things my own way. I'm very particular about that. But when I was growing up, there were a lot of performances that really like sparked my interest more in voice acting than others. David Hayter as Solid Snake, and the very first Metal Gear Solid was definitely the first one that I can remember. James Arnold Taylor as Tidus in Final Fantasy X was another one.
That's me right there.
I love that performance so much, and I will always defend it from all the haters about it. People make fun of that game.
Me and you, we can die on that hill together, man.
Yes, you get it. You get it. You understand. Like those are definitely the top two, I would say. But there have been so many others along the way that I've like. Jesse David Cordy and as Neku in The World Ends With You was another one. There's like a lot of people that I'm just like, man, you did a fantastic job. I want to be as good as you someday. And like that's basically those are probably my top three. Yeah, and as far as roles go, like we kind of already mentioned it.
Yeah, like the DC animation or the Marvel animation.
Yeah, but Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with Spider-Man, man. Peter Parker. Everyone relates to him.
I mean, like honestly, like after it was because of like Spider-Verse that like Spider-Verse did this to me. But like when like the line where it's like anybody can wear the mask, that was such a like a man. I want to voice Spider-Man. Like I want to voice some version of Spider-Man in the future. Like is what that like kickstarted in my soul. Yeah, definitely, probably Spidey would be my final answer on that.
But I guess the actors that you did mention about the ones that that you enjoyed their work. Were you able to meet any of them? Because I met James Arnold Taylor last year at Fan Expo, and I geeked out so hard I could barely talk to him.
I haven't gotten to meet any of those three yet. The closest that I got was meeting Quentin Flynn, who voiced Raiden in Metal Gear Solid 2 and Rising, and I love him as well. He's great. So not yet, but maybe sometime. I'm hoping in the future at some point I get to like meet him and be like, hey, you were super inspirational to me as when I was growing up. So thank you. Yeah, I just want to be able to thank them, for like giving me some good stuff to like think about when I was growing up as when it came to being a voice actor.
That's great, man. I think that's a great way to end the show, man. Like, Ben, thank you so much for just your time, dude. Like, I absolutely enjoyed the conversation, man. Like, especially just hearing your experience, dude. Again,
Thank
man.
you so
Like,
much for having me. This was so
no,
much fun.
I'm glad you liked it too, man. But I cannot stop like just hearing like the experience that you had, and even again, just like from being all the way from England to moving all the way here to Texas, man. Like that is that's still something that's very cool to hear, and like and then you just pursued acting and you got to where you're at now, man. I think it's great to see your come up, and I'm glad you're getting all these roles that you're getting, man. I know you're gonna do very well, dude, and just keep working hard, dude. For fans and followers who do want to follow you or support you, how can they reach out to you?
You can reach out to me in mostly just on Twitter at Ben B Voicing, BenBevoicing. I know how to spell. That's usually where I post everything. Like that's the only I kind of suck at doing social media as like a big thing, so I just usually just stick to Twitter. Twitter's the place. I once every 3,000 years, every blue moon, when the planets align, I stream on Twitch, and it's the same thing. Ben B Voicing on that. If you wish upon a star, I might stream something in the future, but don't hold your breath. And yeah, those are the places. Yeah, thank you so much for having me, man. It's always fun to talk about the stuff that I like with people that want to listen.
Yeah, again, for the listeners and the watchers, all the links to Ben's socials and stuff like that will be in the show notes and description. So yeah, man. Yeah, thank you so much for this, man. If you ever want to come back on the show, dude, just to like talk about and geek out about stuff, that we could probably do a Final Fantasy X episode if you want to, man. Like,
I'd be so down for it. Yeah, Ricky, you have no idea how much I love Final Fantasy. We could talk about this stuff for ages.
Like now that I know that you're a Tidus fan too, man. Oh man, I need people to talk about, especially Final Fantasy X. I need more people to talk about.
It's that. So good. Let's just like have like a blitzball like sports commentary kind of.
Man, my God, that'd be so fucking fun.
Yeah.
Yes, dude. Like if you ever want to come back on, man, I'd love to have you back on the show, dude. Just if you ever want to reach out, just do that. I'll reach out to you as well. Whenever I have open spots. But yeah, man. Thank you so much for this. I absolutely enjoyed this. So for everyone who's watching and listening, go follow Ben again on his socials. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Spoiler Force Podcast so you can get all your updates as well. But that's pretty much it, man. This is episode 146 of Spoiler Force Podcast. Thank you so much, and have a great day.
Bye.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to give a review and rate Spoiler Force Podcast. If you want to get all Spoiler Force updates or even peeks at behind the scenes, you can join the Spoiler Force Discord community. And if you'd like to show support, give tips, recommendations, sponsorships, or any collaborations, you can email me at rickyvang92@gmail.com.